All right, so today we're going to be talking about Chapter 6, Lesson 2. This is all about reflections. So when we deal with reflections, what we're actually going to be looking at is when things flip over some kind of line, like a mirror. So when we reflect over the x-axis, what this really means, and this is what it's going to look like as far as words go, the x-axis, we want to keep the x the same, and then y becomes its opposite. So as far as symbols go, if this is our pre-image, this is going to become x negative y. And this here is my image. Now, if we're looking over the y-axis, again, the y-axis is the vertical one. So we're going to keep y the same. And x becomes its opposite. So again, if we have our symbols here, again, this is our pre-image. That's going to become negative x, y. And this is our image. So let's go through a couple of examples here. So example 1, it says quadrilateral QRST has vertices of negative 1, 1, 0, negative 3, 3, 2, and t is at 4, 0. So it says graph and reflect over the x-axis. Find the coordinates of the new image. So the first thing we need to do is actually graph this quadrilateral. So Q is negative 1, 1. So this is Q. R is 0, 3. So there's R. S is over 3 and up 2, so here's S. And T is at 4, 0, so here's T. So I'm going to connect all of those ordered pairs with a line like that. So now when I draw my reflection now, what I want to do is really see how far away each of these ordered pairs is from the line I'm reflecting over, which happens to be the x-axis, and then go in the opposite direction. So Q is up 1, which means Q prime is going to be down 1. So that's Q prime. R is up 3, so R prime is going to be down 1, 2, 3. So here's R prime. S is up 2, so S prime is going to be down 1 and 2, so here's S prime. And T is actually directly on the x-axis, so it's not up or down, so we're just going to leave it here, so that's going to be called T prime as well. So we're going to connect our ordered pairs with a line. So our new reflected image looks just like that. Last thing that needs to happen then is actually label the new coordinates. So Q prime, instead of being at negative 1, 1, it's going to be at negative 1, negative 1. R prime, instead of being 0, 3, it's 0, negative 3. S prime is to the right 3 and down 2. And T prime is still at 4, 0. All right, let's look at another example here then. We have example 2. It says triangle XYZ has vertices of x, 1, 2, y, 2, 1, and z of 1, negative 2. So it says graph and reflect over the y-axis and then give the coordinates of the new reflected image. So, first thing we have to do is actually graph this. So x is at 1, 2, so here's x. Y is at 2, 1, so here's y. And z is at 1, negative 2, so here is z. So my triangle looks like that. Now it says to reflect over the y-axis. This here is the y-axis, the vertical one. So same thing we did in example 1. We're going to count how many spaces away each of the ordered pairs is away from this axis. And we're going to go in the opposite direction. So x is 1 to the right. So x prime would be 1 to the left. Y prime is down here and it's 2 to the right. So y prime is going to be 2 to the left. So here's y prime. And z prime is 1 to the right. So we're going to have it be 1 to the left. And I'm going to connect those ordered pairs with a line, like so. And that's my new reflected triangle. Last thing it says is to give the coordinates of the reflected image. So x prime, instead of being at 1, 2, it's at negative 1, 2. Y prime, instead of being at 2, 1, it's at negative 2, 1. And z prime, instead of being at 1, negative 2, is going to be at negative 1, negative 2. And then finally, last example. It says example 3, rectangle ABCD has vertices of A, negative 3, 2, B, 2, 2, C, 2, negative 3, and D, negative 3, negative 3. It says find the vertices of the new rectangle, A prime, B prime, C prime, and D prime, after a reflection over the x-axis. So if we look back at our front side here, we're going to be looking at over the x-axis. So our original ordered pair from x, y, x stays the same, y becomes its opposite. So as we do this, x stays the same, y becomes its opposite. So we have negative 3, 2. This will become negative 3, negative 2. So my new ordered pair is negative 3, negative 2. B was 2 and 2. So that'll become 2, negative 2. So B prime is 2, negative 2. C was at 2, negative 3. That'll become 2, positive 3. So C prime is at 2, 3. And then D was at negative 3, negative 3. And that would become negative 3, positive 3. So D prime is at negative 3, positive 3. All right, that is the end of lesson 2. If you have any questions, please let me know.